Hi everyone, it's Ann V, and welcome to my reflection video for 2023. 2023 was a year. I've learned some things about myself. I've had some life transitions. There's probably more life transitions to come, but as 2023 comes to a close, I figure let's talk about some of the stuff that's happened and some of the realizations I've made and what's ahead for 2024, at least as far as I'm concerned. What's ahead for this YouTube channel? I don't know. I'll probably keep doing videos, but, well, I'll talk more about that later. And I actually took some notes in preparation for this video because I know how I can swerve off and spend longer than the hour that I have to put a video up on Tunes to Tube, yammering about one thing, and yeah, so I took some notes. Okay. Probably the most notable change, or one of the most, was around employment. I quit my job after 5 years and 5 months of being there, although I say 5 years and 3 months because honestly June was my last day. Theoretically I was going on medical leave and there was a plan on paper that I would come back, but in my heart I knew I didn't want to come back. I knew I wanted that to be my last day, and as things worked out, that's what happened. I went on medical leave in June. I ended up sending in my resignation in August. I forced that job to work for longer than I probably should have. However, since I did force it to work for as long as I did, I was eligible for SSDI. Perhaps I always would have been eligible for SSDI, but I believe years and years ago I tried to apply and was denied. And it took a long time and a lot of mindset shifting to try to apply again, and this time I was approved. And I think part of the reason why I was approved was because I did work for so long, including pushing through that job for 5 years and 3 months, as opposed to like 2 years when I realized that this was not going to be my forever job. Well, 2.5 years, I guess, was when I really knew that. Because the longer I did it, the more I knew that I wasn't going to want to forever. And by December of last year, I knew that it wasn't probably going to last much longer. By the time I left that job, I was ready for that to be over with. Mentally, I was ready for that to be over with the day I left on my medical leave. I remember just sitting down on the couch that night and thinking, my God, I am freaking exhausted. This burned me the hell out. And I didn't know that I wanted another job, but I was under a lot of pressure to get another job before I quit my job that I knew I wanted out of anyway. So I kind of pushed for another job and ended up getting a job at a local college for which I work remote, which was the number one thing I wanted. I was no longer willing to ask somebody to drive me anywhere just so I could go to work. That was the first thing that I didn't like about my ex-job. The way it was half a freaking hour of driving one way. And in case this is the first time you're ever watching one of my videos and you don't know this about me, I'm blind. So I don't drive anywhere. I don't drive half a second, let alone half a mile, let alone half an hour's worth of miles. So every freaking work day, I had to arrange transportation I had to know who was going to drive me to work, who was going to drive me home, and that was a freaking confusing location. There was, 4 doors, and I had no way of knowing which one the random driver was going to go to. That's why I really wanted people who knew me to pick me up, but there were so few of those that were willing or able to make that kind of trip as often as I needed a ride. I was, And then after the way I tended to have people who worked there and who had authority figures in the job, basically, tell me I was wrong about things or tell me I was doing things wrong. And then I think the beginning of the end was that confrontation on December 8th, 2022. Yeah, I remember the even date. My boss confronted me about what turned out to be the symptom of a health problem, and people had not looked at it as a health problem. They looked at it as an infraction. A person who works here, or anywhere for that matter, doesn't need to be doing that. And God forbid they confront me to my face. They go to the boss, they go everywhere else. And by the time the boss had finally confronted me about it, God knows how long it had been going on, and nobody had bothered to talk to me. That was the beginning of the end. That was also what prompted me to say to my doctor, the so-called sleep medication I'm on is not solving all my sleep problems, which led to a big saga of referrals to different doctors and tests run and et cetera, and June 6th, 2023, my 5-year and 3-month anniversary of working at my job at the time, and the day I found out I had sleep apnea. And that's why what was going on was going on. 2 days after that, I went on, theoretically, a medical leave. But on my last day, I was just like, my God, I'm burned out. I hate this job. I'm not going back. I'm going to find a way to not go back. And on August 14th, I started my new job at the college, where I work from home, and my job is to go to different websites that we are looking at implementing into our college curriculum or our college methodology, and making sure they are accessible and equitable for people who use screen readers or alternative technologies, because due to disability they can't just click on things with the mouse and read the screen with their eyes. So on July 20-something, was it July 27th? I don't remember the exact date. I was hired at my new job. On August 14th, I started that new job. And on August 24th, I finally told my ex-job, I'm done. I hereby resign. So, that was... my ex-job taught me the concept of a lead and a manager, like a team lead, a department manager. And that has kind of come with me into my new job. We have lead testers, and my boss is my manager. And yeah, I don't know if those are concepts I would have known about had it not been for my ex-job. So I appreciate that about my ex-job, and I appreciate the fact that my ex-job had benefits that I have never had before, and I will acknowledge that I don't have in this job, like paid time off. That was a huge blessing. And yeah, there's going to be times down the line when I'm really probably going to miss that. But let's face it, even the PTO was not enough for me to continue working my ass off at a job that really had run its course, that I didn't like anymore, that it was too easy to get in trouble with, that I had to physically go into the office. It was because of what I was doing. I was dealing directly with drugs, with pharmaceuticals, and with pharmacy laws that governed us. They were not permitted to allow me to do that from home, even if I could create a workstation, which, let's face it, in this apartment and in the apartment that I had before I moved into this one, in the interim, while I'm waiting for that apartment to be renovated, there's not room for that. So I talked about going on a soapbox and going on a tangent and going down a rabbit hole and spending forever and a day talking about something, and that's exactly what I did in spite of the notes. But the next thing basically I have in my notes is about YouTube and how... I'll just read this. I like to watch YouTube videos more than I like to edit my own videos. And because of that, the easy thing to do would be to just record on my iPhone. And I guess this is about how I produce YouTube videos. The easy thing to do would be to just record a video on my iPhone and then post it onto the YouTube app. But the YouTube app seems to have changed somewhat as well. It's the way it interacts with VoiceOver. First of all, I don't know if it's a glitch with shorts. Tech gremlins doing their stupid stuff a few days ago, last time I tried to create a short, or if it was, hi Ann, welcome to the way YouTube does things nowadays. But I didn't like it. I was trying to caption my short, create a title for it, and I could not get the on-screen keyboard to come up. I tried turning the computer, or the phone off and turning it back on. It still wouldn't work. I just finally said, screw this, I'm not doing this right now. And I think I ended up recording another video around the same topic and deliberately making it longer than a minute because I would rather put a title and a description in there than post a short without a title and let YouTube create some random caption for it that would turn out to be a thing that screen readers couldn't even read, something that didn't make any sense. And as far as even things that are not shorts, when you enter the title into the YouTube app, it used to be that you could swipe right, swipe back to the left, put the VoiceOver cursor on the title, and VoiceOver would read the title. I'm sorry if I'm speaking a foreign language to many of you, but let me just say this, okay? VoiceOver, which is the screen reader on the iPhone, would read the title. It doesn't seem to do that anymore. And that means if I made a typo in the title, or if I dictated it and dictation did not hear me correctly, which does happen, then I have no way to proofread the title. I'm not okay with that. So it might be that the best way for me to create a YouTube video is to do it the way I'm doing it now. Record MP3s, edit them to whatever extent I have to in Goldwave, which is my sound editing, my MP3 file editing software, and then upload it to Tunes to Tube using just a picture of me and the MP3 file. I'm getting emails. Hang on. So basically it's an audio-based video that the only thing about it that makes it a video is that there's a visual aspect to it. But the visual part doesn't necessarily follow the audio. And, I've been told, I realize that's probably the easiest way for you to do it, but that's not the best way to succeed on YouTube. And I don't disagree with that statement. I know they're right, but it's what works for me. And I kind of have mixed feelings about that, because as a coworker of mine in my current job has told me, and I wish someone would have told me this a long time ago, and I wish I would have been in a frame of mind to hear it if they did. I wish this had been nailed into my brain instead of some of the other things that were nailed into my brain over the years. But as a colleague of mine in my current job said, as disabled people, we are chronically underemployed, so we've got to make money any way we can. That's true, and with that being the case, you'd think I would be really pushing to get monetized on YouTube. However, I'm never going to get monetized by doing YouTube the way I do YouTube, and I'm not at a place at this point. I don't know if I ever will be, but I never say never, I guess. But right now, I'm not in a place, and I never have been, where I am willing to have a sighted person film me while I am recording. I'll post what I want to post. I'll say what I want to say. I'll do what I want to do. You can watch what you can watch with your ear eyes, since that's how I watch videos and that's what I care about. And I don't want someone else's opinions. I don't want someone else's judgment. I don't want someone else's... I don't want to have to ask somebody else to co-create with me. If they want to create a YouTube channel, you go right ahead, but make your own channel. I don't know if it's a matter of trust. I don't know if it's a matter of expected criticism. I don't know if it's a matter of all of the above. But I just am not willing to enlist a camera person. Therefore, my YouTube videos are not going to be the caliber of a sighted person who gives a damn about the visuals and the special effects and the everything. And it's certainly not going to be like the person who vlogs a little bit, has 30 seconds of music, and then turns the music down a notch or two so you can be heard, and then does the rest of the vlog with music. I do little to no music. And that's the way it's going to be. And sorry if anybody doesn't like it, but that's the way it's going to be. Next thing that I wrote to talk about. I have zero plans for a YouTube schedule, or even what I have planned for, like, what's next. I know batch creation is a great idea, but actually I've created several videos and I never have edited them. Like I said, editing just isn't motivating. So it's either just post things as they are, and the bullshit mistakes that are there are the bullshit mistakes that are there, or I go ahead and take the time to clean it up, but you might not get as many videos as maybe you would if I wouldn't care about that. And because I have zero schedule and zero, like, plans for content, that's what's holding me back from pulling my stuff off of YouTube and creating a podcast out of it. Since I'm so gung-ho on audio and I really don't give half a crap about what things look like, it's crossed my mind more than once that maybe what I need to be doing is creating an audio podcast. And, you know, maybe I'll seriously look at that at some point. But right now, like I said, I have zero plans, it's kind of spontaneous. It's, you know, I post whatever the hell I want to, whenever the hell I want to. And that's just kind of the way I do it. And if you're going to create a podcast, don't you need more of a plan than that? So I have zero actual plans for anything, but I'm confident that I'll continue YouTube in 2024 just because, you know, I mean, sometimes I'll not feel like doing a YouTube video and other times I will. And, you know, some people put Instagram videos and TikTok videos up like all the time. I do that with YouTube. You could post videos to Facebook, but I don't really. I don't. I just post them on YouTube. Should that change? Maybe, but as of now, I don't have any plans to change how I guess we'll just go there. That's the other thing I was going to... That's another thing. That's the next thing that comes up in my notes. I'll just read it. The point is, from the last one, I have 0 plans for a YouTube schedule. I'm sure I'll post, but I don't know what my schedule's going to be. Now, reading right off my notes here, I also have 0 plans to change how I produce or what I say just to make others happy. I already talked about how I produce, and even though that's not what makes the YouTube algorithm and, like, you know, a lot of the masses happy, that's why I only have a small amount of subscribers. By the way, thank you for being subscribers. For those of you who are subscribed, I really appreciate you for taking some time out of your day to bother to watch what I have to say or listen to what I have to say. But also, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. That's one of the things that I think I intended to say when I wrote that note. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm expressing myself. I'm saying things that are on my mind, that are, you know, what I want to say, what I want to express. And to those of you who would say, watch your own videos, all you ever do is bitch and complain and blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you enjoy listening to that, well, that's the thing. You don't enjoy listening to that, so you make those kind of comments. If you enjoy listening to me, realize that that's where I am when I'm posting that. If you dislike listening to that so much, then there is an unsubscribe button, and I have no hard feelings toward anyone who might want to unsubscribe. I hit the unsubscribe button myself sometimes, because I find myself subscribed to channels that I'm like, I'm just not interested in that anymore, or I'm just not in a place in my mind right now where I want to hear that. I would rather have 2 or 3 subscribers who are willing to listen to what I have to say than 200 or 300 who half of them just watch so they can say, suck it up and get over it, welcome to the real world, stop complaining. You know what? Kiss my creative ass. You know, I've spent my whole life trying to please other people, and I'm just done. It's about creating the life that I actually want. And I have a hard time wrapping my mind around the idea that YouTube is a social media platform, but in a way it's kind of I suppose it's my social media platform. I mean, it's not really social media, but it's my platform. It's the way that I'm expressing myself right now until I find a more appropriate one that's more audio-based, where pictures really don't matter. But until then, you know, and even then, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say it in a different platform when I find the right other platform. So, sorry if you don't like it, but not sorry enough to change it. If you don't like what I have to say, unsubscribe. If you do, thank you for liking it. And, you know, but if all you're doing is looking for reasons to criticize me, I don't want to hear it. I've been criticized enough for a lifetime, and when I get that, there's probably less in there about just shrug it off and move on. That's their opinion, and you don't have to make it mean very much to you. But I guess I just had to say that, because I guess I'm still bothered by something that was said at one point, and I'm like, you know what? Get over it. So I've talked on and on about plans, about things that I don't have any plans for. What do I have plans for? What are my plans in 2024? Well, I'm not necessarily going to say they're resolutions. One could be considered a resolution, I guess, but I'm not going to call it a resolution. I'm going to call it like what I'm going to work on in the new year. Weight loss, for one. I don't like the number on the scale last Friday. I discovered there's a scale in my interim apartment building's community room, and I had my caregiver weigh me, and I didn't like the number she read me. So let's see if we can do something about that. Bedroom makeover. I don't know if that's going to happen in this apartment or the next one, but I've got a nice dresser, but it's big, and that space in the bedroom needs to go to something else. So I need to. I would like to get that out of there. I need to find someone with a truck and a partner to help them in order to do that. But I would like to get this big honking thing out of here. As far as my needs for drawers, there's easier moving, less space consuming ways to store my stuff. And I've found that, and I would like to get this big old dresser out of here. And I'm in the market for a bigger bed too. This bed that I have right now it's long enough, but it's not wide enough. The bottom line is I've grown out of this size of bed. I want a bigger bed. Yes, I want to lose weight, but I still deserve a bigger bed than this. Even if I meet my ideal weight, I still deserve a bigger bed than this. And I know that this is coming in 2024, unless there's a big, huge delay. I'm going to be moving back into what is going to be my apartment until such time as I can afford to rent a house. Yeah, I'm going to put that out there. This apartment that is being renovated right now, which is why I'm not living there, has been a good home for me for many years. And this interim apartment, I was thinking that it could turn into my new home, but this apartment building is going to be renovated too. And I do not want to go through this renovation move twice. It makes more sense to me to move back to my former apartment, which will have been renovated by then, and the building won't have to be renovated for years on end. Hopefully, by the time the next renovation happens, I will have moved out of there, because I will have been able to afford to rent a 2 or 3 bedroom house that is just, my own building, Apartment life isn't bad. Beats the hell out of sleeping on the streets or living in your car. But I had a house years ago. My family, it was a family house that we had, but I had it that I couldn't live there without a roommate. And also, we've long since sold it, but even if it was still in the family, it's in the wrong... I don't want to live in that location of the country anymore. So there have been times I've wished I could go back there, but no, I don't, because that would mean going back to that place, and I don't want to, nothing bad about that place specifically, but I personally just don't want to live there anymore. So I would like to up level to renting a house. I'm nowhere near there yet, and while I'm waiting, unless something happens really quickly and I move from the interim apartment into my new house, which would be a miracle if you ask me, but I think it's more likely that in June, July, August of 2024, I'll move out of my interim apartment into my place that I had to leave because of renovation, and then stay there for however many years it takes me to save the money, to locate the right house, to make all the arrangements, to even figure out where this house that I'm thinking about is. Is it in the state, the city that I currently live in? Or is it somewhere else? I mean, with all the benefits that I have right now, and I need those benefits, and I'm so grateful for those benefits, I don't want to lose those benefits, therefore I'm not really in the frame of mind of wanting to move right now. But I'm also not in the frame of mind that I'm hardline against moving, you know. If I had the right circumstances, if I knew that what I count on is still going to be there in a different place, I might be convinced to move at some point. But for right now, I think I'm going to stay in the city and state that I'm currently in and move back to that apartment when it's ready for me to move back into, and stay there until I'm able to up-level to the house of my dreams. In the meantime, I think I'll just wrap it up there. This was really long-winded, and thanks for, if you watched this long, thanks for watching the whole video, or watching the whole video, and thank you to those of you who are willing to watch whatever I choose to post, and I'll see you in 2024.